hot morning coffee isn't tasting great over ice later is similar to the reason you wouldn't want to eat an apple after letting it sit out, cut open on the counter for hours. Oxidation and degradation occur over time. It's simply less visually apparent with coffee. In the same way that extraction occurs faster at a higher temperature, so do these two processes. In coffee, oils oxidize and sour, while acids degrade and become bitter, both of these unpleasant flavors becoming so prominent that you've lost the rich, sweet flavor notes that you found in your early morning mug. If you want to do iced coffee, you have to bring the chill quickly to stop this from happening. Here's an idea for the forward thinker: try cold brew. There are numerous benefits to cold brew. It typically is manifested in a concentrate, making it long-lasting and versatile. It can be cut with hot water for a nice warm mug or milk for a mocha latte, and of course cut with cold water and poured over ice. Additionally, by brewing with room temperature water, you avoid dissolving a lot of acidic compounds, and according to a study done by Toddy, it's approximately 67% less acidic than hot brewed coffee, making it easier on your teeth and digestive system. This less acidic coffee also tends to be very balanced, smooth, and rich. To make cold brew, generally a 1:4 ratio of coffee to room temperature water is used. Because extraction is much slower at such a low temperature, it takes anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to brew. And to make sure we don't over-extract in this period of time, it calls for a coarse grind, similar to what you would use in a French press. Check out my previous video for a step-by-step process on how to make cold brew. Cold brew is simple to make and lasts up to 2 weeks in the fridge, but some critics out there say that the cold brew method leaves you with a more boring coffee. Sure, it's chocolatey and sweet, but it lacks the complexity that hot brewed coffee offers, with more flavorful acids in the cup. To remedy that flavor conundrum, I would suggest the Japanese iced brew method. This method is much faster, being easily made in any simple pour-over, but typically produces only a glass or two and is best if consumed immediately. With this brewing method, you'll likely have more success with some of the more unique coffees that are praised for their enjoyable and complex acidity. Kenya is a great example. Whereas with the cold brew method, these coffees tend to be dull and less enjoyable because their acidity really needs to be highlighted to appreciate them. In this method, you're simply going to brew a more concentrated coffee with hot water directly over ice, thus dissolving those complex acids, yet immediately slowing the degradation process as the brewed coffee comes in contact with ice. I highly suggest beefing up your brew ratio a bit and possibly upping your brew temperature. However, I don't suggest exceeding 210 degrees Fahrenheit. Around here, we generally use a 1:16 ratio for brewing hot, so I tend to go for a 1:14 ratio for the Japanese ice brew method. For your water, you'll divide what you plan to use into half hot water and half ice. For example, if I plan to brew with 500 grams of water, I would place 250 grams of ice into my carafe and use 250 grams of hot water to brew, which means you'll be brewing a really heavy concentrated coffee, but diluting it as it drips into your carafe. The grind size and brew ratio for this method will vary based on the type of pour-over you use and your strength preferences, so it may take some tinkering to get that just right. But now you can certainly look forward to some of the most flavorful iced coffee you've ever tasted. Stay cool out there, folks. See you next week.